Hi, I must tell you about an extraordinary thing that happened to me very recently. I'm out in St James's Park on a really beautiful sunny day, one of those rare sunny days. I'm just walking along, enjoying the sunshine, minding my own business. And then suddenly, something really strange happens. I happen to glance across to the road that runs down the side of the park, and what do I see? There's a big black limousine with a flag at the front of it, and a motorcycle outrider in front, and another motorcycle outrider behind it. Aha, I think to myself, that's somebody important. And then I notice something else. The back window of the limousine is slightly open, and suddenly a little dog pops its head out of the window. And before I know what happens, the little dog has jumped out of the car, fallen on the ground, picked itself up, shaken itself, and is running across the park towards me. And sure enough, the little dog comes up to me, panting away, and I look down, and I see it's a corgi. Aha, I say, limousine, flag, corgi. Maybe this is a royal corgi. And then I see something else. The doors at the front and the back of the limousine have opened, and two huge guys get out. You know, shoulders at the start of their ears, and they're pounding across the park towards me and the dog. Well, I think I'd better do something about this. But just as I'm deciding to do something about it, this tall, thin, sort of model-looking person walks by, and she's got a great big fierce-looking dog on one of those extending leashes. And before I know what's happened, the leash is shot out, the big dog's got hold of the little corgi, got the little blighter on the floor, and looks like it's going to have him for lunch. Well, we can't have this, I think. Might be a royal corgi, needs rescuing. So quick as a flash, I give the big dog a boot up the behind. And he, of course, he lets go of the little dog. I pick the little dog up in my arms, and do you know what he does? It bites my finger. So I, quick as a flash, drop the corgi again. Now, just at that moment, these two big guys who've been running across the park from the limousine, they arrive. All right, says one of them. I'll take the dog, sir. Quick as a flash, he scoops up the dog. Well, I don't mind. Have the dog, I think. And then the other one turns to his friend and says, Here, Jim, have you seen this bloke's fingers? I reckon Monty's bit him. And then everything changes. Big Jim, the bigger of the two, says to me, Oh dear, sir, was that actually Monty there what bit you? Well, yes, I'm afraid it was, actually. You see, he was very traumatised. He was almost killed by that big dog there. Right, sir. I think Her Majesty would like to thank you personally. Oh, Her Majesty. So, before I know where it is, Big Jim has got me by the elbow, walking me across the park back to the limousine with the little dog under his arm. And just as we're going, Mrs. Tall, Thin, scrawny-looking model lady shouts out, Here! What do you think you're doing? You can't just kick somebody's dog up the behind! To which Big Jim, without breaking stride, just turns his head and says, Shut up, or you'll end in the tower. Which I thought was a rather good put down. Anyway, we arrive at the limousine. The back door is opened, and there's HRH Madge, the Queen. Oh, James, what has happened to Monty? Well, ma'am, says Big Jim, this gentleman here has actually rescued him from possible death from a ferocious dog there. No! Oh, how horrible! We are much obliged, Mr. Palmer, man. Valentine Palmer. Oh, Mr. Valentine, what a delightful name. As I say, we are so obliged. Oh, and you seem to be injured. Yes, Mom. I'm afraid Monty here bit me because, of course, he was very traumatised. Well, in that case, we must take you back to the palace and have the royal surgeon attend to your wound. You might get gangrene or something worse. So before I know where I am, I'm in Buckingham Palace. I'm in the green room, and it's all beautiful and gilded and chintzy and green. And this old chap is doing a little dolly around my finger. Oh, and by the way, he's given me a bit of a nasty injection for tetanus. And then Her Majesty turns to Big Jim and says, "James, you know how devoted Prince Charles is to Monty. I think he'd like to thank Mr. Valentine personally." So before I know where I am, HRH Charles comes into the green room. "Oh, how absolutely frightful. Mr. Palmer, sir. Valentine Palmer." "Oh, Valentine, delightful name. Yes, terrible about Monty, and you getting bitten. He's such a delightful dog normally. We will see that you're taken back to your home. Where do you live, Mr. Valentine?" "Brighton, sir." "Brighton, delightful place. And that extraordinary pavilion. What a mixture of artistic styles. Reminds me of that dreadful Richard Rogers." Anyway, the next thing I know, I'm in the royal limousine, on my way back to Brighton, and I'm sinking down in this lovely, dark, brown leather upholstery. And I'm thinking, maybe a knighthood, maybe an earldom, a lordship, who knows? Certainly a lot of money from the privy purse. After all, I have saved a royal personage, well, a royal dog, from a fate worse than death. I get nothing. Nothing at all. And the only thing I had to remind me of this amazing adventure is a dolly on my finger. It's a dog's life.